Well, good morning, everybody. All right, we've got a great group this year. It's great to be back at TechED. It's also great to be back in San Diego. We were talking about the attendance this year. We've got over 2,000 folks registered for the event, and that's a record for us. And so I heard another statistic that over 44 countries are represented here. So great news, and thanks for sharing the time with us. It's great to see everybody. So one way or another, everybody in this room is involved in industrial automation. And if you've been involved in the industry for a while, like I have, you've seen it mature. You've seen changes like solid state control, the introduction of commercial technologies on the plant floor, and some of the things that Keith mentioned earlier, the convergence of IT and OT, bringing information technology and operations technology together for a more unified enterprise approach. So many of us have different experiences in automation. Let's just do a little show of hands. How many folks have been in automation for 10 years or less? Okay, how about 20 years or less? A little bit more. How about 30 years or less? So that's gutsy, you're actually admitting that. How about 30 years or more? All right, okay, so these folks are comfortable with themselves. So how about a round of applause? So I myself in my 30th year as a person in automation, and we've seen a lot of things change. But the demographics in this room really echo what we're seeing around the world. So just like the technologies have changed, the people are changing. And so as those people change, things become more important, things like domain expertise in automation. And it's becoming a challenge in industry as all those folks in that 20 and 30 year range begin to get later in their careers. And so the younger folks entering the workforce are really important. They bring new ideas, they understand new technologies, and frankly, they work differently. But remember, all those folks in that 15 and 10 year range grew up with the internet, they grew up with mobile devices, and they grew up with social media. And so they work differently. So maybe a few statistics to help you see the picture. By 2025, a decade from now, 70% of the workforce are going to be millennials. That means those are the folks that are going to be running the businesses of the future. And after them, about 30 million Gen Zs are going to enter the workforce. And so these folks work differently. They work differently than all of us. And they're going to be running the companies of the future. At the same time they move into the workforce, some of our most experienced colleagues move out. They think about retirement. The baby boomers are more than just a generation. These are folks with decades of critical domain expertise, really important knowledge for our customers. And so the changing workforce is just one of the many issues we think about when we talk about smart manufacturing and how that will evolve over the next decade. So hold that thought, because we're going to talk about more of that a little bit later. So much of what's been written about the future is written about a view of the decade ahead, so 2025 and beyond. And so there's even an online show called Future Earth. Has anybody seen Future Earth? It talks about the economies and the technologies of the future, things that will happen a decade from now. And so what if we could see into that future? What would it look like? How many of you are interested to see what it would be like a decade from now? And specifically, what about the future state of manufacturing? Well, we're all here at TechED, and Keith talked about all the technology that we talk about. And so at some heart, most of us have some interest in science fiction. And so what I'm going to ask you to do is stretch yourself a little bit and pretend, use your imagination to think about us moving through time a decade into the future to 2025. But again, at TechED, we also like to have a little fun, and so we're going to move ahead in style. We're going to move ahead DeLorean style, just like Back to the Future. So let's climb into the DeLorean, let's set the date to 2025, and let's see what the future holds. So I don't know about you, but that was my first wormhole. So here we are in 2025. So let's take a look at what's going on. Maybe a look at the news. And so how about something many of us enjoy? How about sports first? So it says here the Cubs, the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. So what's happening in the future? Any Cub fans here? Okay, you know that can't be right, okay? So let's take another look. The US wins the World Cup. Well, maybe, okay, maybe. How about turn the page and we see what's for sale? How about intelligent homes, homes that know your preferences? That would be interesting, right? How about other things? Maybe connected devices, connected appliances, connected cars, connected personal devices, all those things generating information. Well, what about technology? What about how we work and how we live and how we communicate? Maybe how we commute. All those things are changing. Something else interesting, what about data-driven businesses? Think of that, data-driven businesses and services. That means as we move into the future, your information becomes somebody else's business. How about that? So, but what all these things indicate is that we'll continue to become more connected. Technology will continue to bring us more together, whether it's in our businesses, our homes, or our everyday life. And so imagine a connected refrigerator ordering your groceries for you online. I don't know if that's good or bad. I'm not sure I want to order the same thing all the time. But connectivity is really the confluence of many technologies coming together. Things like intelligent devices, mobility, and the next generation of the Internet of Things, or as John Chambers would say, the Internet of Everything. And so the convergence of all that information is going to continue to feed the exponential growth of big data. You know, everybody talks about big data. And I remember last year, it was just last year at TechED, we talked about exabytes. But if you saw the information up on the screen from 2025, we're not talking about exabytes, we're talking about zettabytes, or 2 to the 70th power, or 1 billion terabytes. You know, I remember reading something where you could store all the knowledge of an individual in a terabyte. So think of 1 billion terabytes. So another way to think of that is information generation is growing so fast that 90% of the historical information in the world could be generated in the next 2 years. So imagine that. That's just unbelievable. So, but the challenge isn't the amount of data. We talk about big data. That's not the challenge. That we can manage. It's about getting at the right data across multiple sources. It's about making connections between that data and associations. It's about turning data into information with context, turning information into knowledge, and knowledge into wisdom. And so the challenge is taking past data and present data and making it future data. Because if we have future data, we can begin to predict. We don't have to react. And if we can predict, we can be much more productive. So back in 2005, many governments around the world started looking around at what they could do to make their manufacturing more innovative, to improve their infrastructure. And so we saw initiatives like the Smart Manufacturing Coalition in the US, Industry 4.0 in Germany, and then shortly after that, nearly every major country had its own initiative. So all these initiatives took hold, and the trend towards connected, intelligent assets accelerated. So automation systems became smarter. Devices in the field, like simple motor starters and field devices, became more intelligent. And as they became more intelligent, controllers, HMI, MES systems were able to automatically access that information. So predefined content comes alive, and everything that we do becomes more productive. We design faster, we commission faster, and we operate our machines with a higher degree of availability. So intelligent connected assets and devices become intelligent connected machines. Intelligent connected machines become intelligent connected plants. And as we connect those plants to the enterprise, we build the connected enterprise. So only a few automation companies in this time could do this, and those persevered. So let's pause. I think you know where I'm going with this, right? And this is a view of the future. But let's get back to 2015. And let's get back in the DeLorean and go back. So twice in one day is a little much. So let's look at the future. The future looks pretty bright, doesn't it? So, you know, the interesting thing about that is all those things we saw in 2025 are actually things that are happening today. There's things that happen every day. Well, except the thing about the Cubs. I'm not sure that's happening today. Different issue. In fact, if you've been with us for a while, those 20 and 30 years experienced folks, you've heard Rockwell Automation and Alan Bradley talk about these things before. It's kind of part of who we are. And so when we think about the connected enterprise, just 2 years ago, I was on this very stage and introduced it as Rockwell Automation's vision for smart manufacturing. And so we talk about the connected enterprise being focused on rapid value creation. We talk about being focused on the tighter integration of intelligent assets in the rest of the supply chain. And so the result is an enterprise that can be optimized, one that can be transformed. In fact, one that can deliver quantifiable business value to you or your customers. And so the most important thing that I can leave you about the connected enterprise and that vision is that we're achieving that vision today with our customers. We're achieving that vision today with you, even without a DeLorean. So when we think about delivering the connected enterprise, and we do it every day, we deliver through these three core platforms. Our integrated architecture, and you've all heard about that, intelligent motor control, and our solutions and services offering. So that's how we bring the connected enterprise to life, and we do that directly or through our partners. So Rockwell Automation has been making significant investments across these three platforms, and we're doing that for you to maintain your competitive edge. But in the future, in the near future, our solutions will become smarter, more productive, and more secure. But what do I mean about that? Smart automation solutions are solutions that deliver time to value. Smart automation solutions offer richer information, better diagnostics, better analytics, premier notification systems, and they improve your system availability. They help you keep your machines, your plants, and your intelligent assets running. Productive automation solutions differ. We're trying to drive value across the automation lifecycle. You know, automation is interesting in that the design phase is 10% or less of the lifecycle. How we operate and maintain those assets over time is where the value can be created. And so aside from improving your time to market, we want to increase your asset utilization and reduce your total cost of ownership. And so that's what productive automation systems do. When we mentioned something earlier, this convergence idea of IT and OT, and we bring those two things together. As we do that, that convergence, security becomes an imperative. And so secure automation systems are built on a strong, secure infrastructure. We talk about our relationship with our grid partner, Cisco. They help us deliver that secure network infrastructure. They're designed to reduce enterprise risk. They help you manage access, tamper protection, and protect your valuable intellectual property. All of us, especially those manufacturers, know that you want to protect your intellectual property. That's the lifeblood of your organization. So last year at TechED, we also talked about our journey to the connected enterprise, and we brought up a gentleman, Bob Murphy, who's our Vice President of Operations. So over the last 5 years, we've been on this journey for ourselves, and we've learned many things, and we've had many challenges, but we've also seen the benefits of the connected enterprise. And so as we did that journey, we used our own products and solutions to build out our version of the connected enterprise. So let's give a couple other examples, and I thought we'd start with a fun one. This one's probably not exactly what you expected to see on the screen. And it's an example by a good partner of ours, Microsoft. And they have an example they call the connected cow. All right? And so if you're a cattle rancher, developing your herd and increasing the size of your herd is kind of like increasing your revenue. And so breeding of cows is really important. Well, it turns out that's not so easy, right? And so what they figured out as they kept track of this information is that cows, when they're ready to breed, they get kind of happy feet, right? They have more hoof counts. And so what they did is they fitted the cows with the equivalent of a cow Fitbit that was internet connected. They brought all that information in. They aggregated that information. They noticed these trends. And so in this particular example, the farmer or the rancher gets a message that tells them which cows and when they're ready to breed. And so what's the result of that? Well, it was actually 95% successful, and it actually increased the herd drastically, and so that increased revenues. And so when I first saw this example, I wasn't sure how folks would like it, but I thought it was kind of cute, and it depicted what we want to talk about with information. And so I thought it was very moving. You can't put a cow up on the screen and not have a moo sound, right? So Let's take a look at a different example. This one may be a little bit more practical. We've all heard about counterfeiting. Counterfeiting happens in pharmaceuticals. It happens in things like infant formula, elder care, and high-value consumer products. And so counterfeiting is getting to be a growing health and safety problem around the world with deep financial consequences for governments, businesses, and consumers. And so we pulled together a solution, actually with a partner, that's a cloud-based serialization solution. And what that allows us to do is track and trace any package, any carton, any box, any pallet, or any lot, real time, anywhere throughout the supply chain. And so it also allows the consumer at the end, the consumer who's receiving, in maybe the case of pharmaceuticals, the medication, to track online through the connected enterprise to make sure they're getting the right medication to the right place at the right time. And so it's a solution that solves a major problem for us: serialization and counterfeiting. So there's many other examples, and we're going to do something interesting this year at TechED. Our customers are starting to see the benefits of the connected enterprise. And instead of me telling you about those things, we're going to allow you to listen to them. And so equipment builders, users, small companies, large companies, in-plant applications, and remote plant applications, things like oil and gas, are all the examples you're going to hear this week. And so 20 customers agreed to share those examples with you so you can understand how you might be able to build your version of the connected enterprise. So our world continues to change. And it's not just the technology, it's the people within it, it's all of us. And so the future of manufacturing, though, is quite bright. And intelligent connected assets are going to continue to help us deliver unprecedented value. So Rockwell Automation's vision for smart manufacturing and all those other initiatives we talked about in all those other countries is the connected enterprise. And so the connected enterprise can be a game changer for your organization and your customers. You can deliver true value, transformational value. It'll help you reduce your time to market, improve your asset utilization, reduce your total cost of ownership, and through those secure network infrastructures, help you enterprise risk management. And so I want to thank all of you for being here. It's great, again, to see everybody here and be here with you in San Diego. And I hope you have a great week at TechED. Enjoy yourself, educate yourself, inspire yourself. Thank you.